ahead and do 3, 2, and 1. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is today, October 25th, just a little bit after 3 o'clock. This is the author, Andrew Snorton, and just as we do every second and fourth, not Wednesday, I'm thinking of another thing, every second and fourth Sunday about this time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, give or take a couple minutes, we do our roundtable talk called All About the Authors. I usually host this with my colleague, celebrity source Tyra Satai. She may or may not join us on this one, but just a couple of quick things as we have a couple of guests that are tuned in. Hopefully you have your phones on, until you need to, your phone on mute. Make sure it's on do not disturb, and we're just going to have fun with it. But what we do every second and fourth Sunday about this time, typically it's myself and celebrity source Tyra Satai. What we end up doing, we usually have a couple of guest authors that come in, take about 10 plus minutes to talk about their work, the things that they're doing with their work, other tie-ins and things along those lines. So for your favorite reader and things along those lines, if you need to add to your library, which all of us do, here are some great suggestions and great ways to do it. So to stay connected with me, before I introduce our guest, to stay connected with me, you may add me on Facebook at author Andrew Snorton. And if you go to that page, you'll see us live. So please make sure to share, do your watch parties, because when it's good news, you don't want to keep it just to yourself. That's greedy. That's being selfish. Don't be that way. And other ways to connect with me are going to be on Twitter, Instagram at author A Snorton, YouTube at author A Snorton, and you can email me at authorsnorton@gmail.com. So those are the ways to stay connected with me. But again, today isn't about me. It is about one of our great guests. And I tell you what, all the authors that we've had, they've had some powerful stories, powerful testimonies, just really walking and talking through this whole process. And when I got this message from this brilliant young lady, and I say young lady, that's part of the reason I'm still upright, young lady, based out of Middle Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, Columbus, Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, but she'll correct me otherwise. I tell you what, we had a great conversation. She had seen a couple of the episodes and was like, this is something I want to be a part of. And I'm glad she said it, because the story that she's telling, the stories that she's going to tell, I tell you what, when we say, powerful and walking in their steps and walking in the direction that has been preordained, for lack of a better term, I tell you what, you can say that about a number of people, and this is another person I can say that about. So please welcome to today's edition, Ms. Carla Fitzgerald. Carla, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. How are you? And thank you for allowing me this opportunity to be on your platform. I sincerely appreciate that.
Well, I tell you what, I sincerely appreciate you logging in and being here. So it's great. Carla, give our viewers briefly a little bit of a background. Where are you based, and a few of your other moving parts in addition to wearing the hat of author?
Okay, well, I'm actually now based in Mandeville, Louisiana as of last week, believe it or not. I've been really busy moving. But I came originally from Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, to Alexandria, Louisiana. And as I said, now here in Mandeville, a place that I absolutely did not know that I would be coming to, didn't even know it was on the map until maybe 2 or 3 months ago. So how I ended up here, I would just say it's the Spirit of the Lord leading me, and I'm just following. In addition to my author, I am a registered nurse, spent many years in the military active duty Army. So I'm still a hua girl, but instead of just being a formal soldier for the Army, I'm now a soldier for the Lord, and just enjoy life. I enjoy life.
Awesome. Awesome. So you've got your share of moving parts, just like a number of people. So now it comes time to wearing the hat of author. Walk through with our viewers, what would you say was that bump or that nudge that kind of was like, hey, this needs to be the next step I need to make?
To be honest with you, initially I did not set out to write a book at all. I've always been one of those people that was journaling throughout my entire life. Didn't think it would lead to anything. To me, it was just fun, and helping me track whatever I was experiencing at the time. So I didn't know that this was going to happen until I was asked to participate in a women's empowerment workshop. And I did a lot of fasting and praying prior to the workshop just to prepare for it. And after the message was completed, I realized just by what other people were telling me, because I actually kind of went into the space and didn't even know what was happening to me. But literally everything I prepared just kind of went out the door, and the Holy Spirit was just really working through me. But after the workshop, when I was getting the feedback and the responses of people, I didn't know that my story would impact them to the degree that it did. And so literally at that point, it's like, okay, Laura, maybe I need to do something else with this. So I started writing basically just to finish healing myself, and got to a point, didn't know which way to go as far as, getting it published, reviewed. I knew none of the steps regarding authorship. And believe it or not, a friend was talking to her one day in a casual conversation. She recommended that I reach out to a coach, Maximus Wright, if you don't mind me saying his name. And I contacted him, and things went from there. And before I knew it, Planting Peaches was born.
Wow. So it really kind of, like you said, people use the term evolve or evolution, and really it was more so, for lack of a term, like a response initially, and then it was, okay, let me go ahead and pour more of myself into it. And then all of a sudden, here you are. And sometimes it happens. And I don't want to say by accident. You didn't know that these things were positioning you to go ahead and get here. Do us a favor. Can you show us the cover, like the book?
Sure.
And as you're doing that, walk through with our viewers some of the themes and some of the topics that are covered.
Okay, it's called Planting Peaches, The Journey of Lauren Brooks. Can you see it clearly?
Yes.
There's a big orange on the front. It may be misleading when people see the orange, but trust me, it's not about oranges at all. It's literally about an adult woman's life who has made a lot of errors along the way, but she didn't realize that those errors would trigger from something that happened to her when she was a child. The main character, Lauren Brooks, was actually molested as a 6-year-old child by family members. And a lot of times people don't want to talk about that. So literally the first chapter starts off basically doing a shh, like be quiet. In other words, let's keep this family secret a family secret. But what we have to realize is that family secrets can kill us if we don't expose them. Anything that brings harm to anybody can kill you if you don't expose it. So chapter 1 opens up basically just giving the scenario of how everything started with her life, and literally just kind of leading into everything else that's going to happen after she finally recognizes, okay, this issue is getting the best of me, and she couldn't allow that to continue.
Wow. And I'm glad you started off with walking through that, because as I was listening, it's like all of us have, whether it's some challenges or traumatic experiences or what have you. And it kind of reminds me of, you know what, there's certain things you need to hold on to, and there's certain things you got to let go of, because it's like you always put your energy into certain things. It limits you from so walk through with some of the other themes, because this is like not only just, it's definitely an eye opener, but for our viewers out there, hey, you're speaking to like real and tangible issues and challenges.
Well, some of the challenges that I faced as I was writing was literally learning how to get out of my own way to allow the art in me to flow, and literally, change your whole mindset, your thinking process, and just kind of learn to write from your heart, because you want to be able to connect with any and every reader, and you want to be authentic with them. Everyone can talk a good game and say this and just say that, and they tell you to pray, but they don't tell you how to pray. There are a lot of things I knew, but there were a lot of things I didn't know. And so for me, as I was going through the process of writing it out, I literally had to relive everything that occurred in order to put truth out there to some degree. At the same time, it's still character format. And as I said earlier, every family has some deep, dark secrets that they don't want told. But the thing is, the only way to break those deep, dark secrets are to tell them. Let's see. In chapter, I think it's chapter 4 or so. Let me get to the table of contents. One moment.
No problem. Hey, when your creative juices are flowing and you're multitasking them, and hey, it's happened to all of us. Seriously, it has. So you're good. You're good.
So I'll add that as you're going through this book, you're going to find that Lauren is experiencing some issues with betrayal. She's experiencing some issues with love, she's experiencing some issues where there's family drama, friendship drama, anything that can cause drama. And at the same time, she learns later, as she goes through the processes, that forgiveness is available. And I think that's important for any reader to have. You know, when you're telling a story, how have you been able to overcome any part of those bad things that happen in the story? Is there a way out? And the answer to that question is yes, there is a way out. You just have to find that space, find that place that can take you on a path that towards something that's bright and beautiful, instead of living into that dark world. You know, we may have experienced something dark, but we don't have to stay there. And I want them to understand that and just go forward, walk in life and walk in light. I'm a very positive person. For as long as I can remember, I've been a very positive person. When I meet people, I try to shine that light on them. But sometimes, you know, people aren't ready to receive it. And you have to allow people to be who they are, where they are, and just meet them there. So I'm hoping that that's helping someone.
And I'm glad you say that. That's a theme that I know a number of us, like I've touched base in one of my books and others, where you don't want to be just stuck there. Like it's okay to feel some type of way, because as humans, we are going to feel some type of way about whatever, but you don't want to be stuck there. And I think another thing that you said, getting out of your own way, that is a theme that a number of our guests have said. So I'm glad that you're reiterating that, because again, people need to hear it. And something that you just said about shining your light where you are, that ties in with one of the things that one of our guests from our previous show talked about: shine your light where you are. So again, look, in order for it, you know, people need to hear it multiple times. So I'm glad that you're emphasizing and, you know, those particular themes and concepts. Let me ask you this question. And I know there's, like anyone that's written, there's all these different things. What would you say would be one key takeaway that you want any reader to have when they pick up your book and they're going through the pages? What would you say would be one key takeaway that you want any reader to have?
The key takeaway I would think would be, one, embrace the journey that you're on, the good, the bad, the ugly, because not everything is in that bad and ugly state of mind or state of life. There are so many beautiful things that occur to us, but we focus so much on those negative things. It's usually just a handful of negative things, but it gets all of our attention. Redirect that time and thought process to something that's positive. And I tell you, it would just completely change the entire outcome of your life. But you have to be willing to walk into, as I said earlier, find that light and walk into it. Don't spend time or waste time on the past when your future, your present and your future is right here in front of you and ahead of you. Just don't stay in the dark. So by all means, do whatever it takes to make sure that you are healed. And that is the final thing I want to say regarding the takeaway. Healing is available to you. It's available to you. It's up to you to reach out and grasp it. But by all means, don't stay in the dark.
Yeah, my apologies for interrupting, but I was like, I tell you what, that is some very timely and sound insight. And that's not just, like you said, applicable for your book, but when you think about just regular everyday things, those are some takeaways that anybody, anywhere can really draw from and be like, hey, this is speaking with me and what have you. Now, it looks like, Carla, you got a couple of, you had a couple of your little friends jump on.
Of course,
which is cool. And this, and which
these
is great.
These are people who love me. You need to be surrounded by people who love you.
So I want to make sure that we open up the floor. I'm going to invite Ms. Gwen to take hers off of mute, because she jumped on board first. She got the blindfold, the shades ready, everything. So Gwen, great for you to join us. How are you doing this fine Sunday afternoon?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you doing on this?
Hey, come along real well, real well. Gwen, tell us something, share with us something. Clearly you are, acquainted with our guest author. What would you say, whether not just the book, but just from what you've heard today, what's one thing that you definitely want other people to know, to be like, hey, this one right here, you need to look out for this one right here?
Number one, this one right here, you need to look out for this one right here. Number two, I met Carla back in, I almost forget, it seems like I've known her all her life. I call her my little sister. She's one of many little sisters, two little sisters for sure that are on this panel right now. But in the meantime, I met her when she was an Army Nurse Corps officer. And then she got out of the Army Nurse Corps and she worked in education. So she's also an educator. She worked to oversee the operating room. That's her specialty area of nursing, operating room technicians course. And I may have that wrong, operating room specialist course. And not only that, she spearheaded a lot of events in the hospital and was a part of many things, to include helping the hospital become accredited. Over time, we kept in touch. She needs to be back here in Augusta, Georgia. She needs to leave Mandeville because I'm a storm chaser. Every time there's a storm, I'm calling her to see where she is down there in Louisiana, okay? So in the meantime, we kept in touch, and there have been times when, without knowing, I've called her and she has asked me a question, or I've called her and we've just talked in general, and I've given her a word of knowledge, which I didn't even know. It would be about a job, mostly, you know, changing various jobs. She's very, very, very talented, very gifted, and loves the Lord. Her best mentor, you want to talk to next. I say her best mentor, but her best spiritual mentor, for sure, you're going to be talking to her shortly. But watch out for this one, because she is going to be used of the Lord, has already been. I read the book. The book makes me cry, but it gives a great overview of what life is. When you look at people, you think life is perfect, but life hasn't been perfect, but you've made a perfect situation out of an imperfect situation, or a perfect opportunity out of an imperfect situation. And you've allowed the Lord to heal you and to be used for him.
Well, I tell you what, Ms. Glenn, that is a very powerful piece, and appreciate you being on here and sharing. And that's part of why we try to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, because it's the proverbial, we see people where they are.
Yes.
We don't know different things they've been led through or have worked through or are working through in order to be here. So Ms. Gwen, I tell you what, I appreciate you taking time to share. And look at here, Carla. Like I said, Carla and her little friends. I mean, we being silly, but seriously, no,
I
it's
love
great.
them.
But I tell you what, no, it's great to have them on board. So I'm going to ask Ms. Natalie Tracy to go ahead and unmute herself. Ms. Natalie, how are you doing this fine afternoon? Okay, you may need to adjust your volume. Adjust your volume just a moment. And we've all been there. Lord knows, yeah. I know we've all been there.
No, not yet.
Not yet. We still need you to adjust your volume, Ms. Natalie. No problem.
While she's still adjusting, I'll just add.
Yes, we got her.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, I knew that I would probably have a problem because I'm using some new technology. So I just thought today would be a perfect day to try it out. So we see that did not happen. So I will go back to the drawing board after this. But yes, I'm just happy to be on board. Please forgive me. I had a bit of a delay. We had some unexpected guests. My husband is still celebrating his retirement, so I had to adjust fire quickly. But I have known Carla for many, many years. A lot of what Gwen has already said, I can echo same sentiment, so I will not rehash that. But I would just like to say the one thing I could say about her is that she's transparent. And yes, this book, of course, I've read it. I was truly impressed by her opening up herself so powerfully. And it was a lot of trepidation that she had to go through, a lot of sleepless nights, but she knew that she had folks that were praying for her, because we know a God, we serve a God that makes the impossible possible. So this had to come to pass, and he made it possible. And he's going to allow a lot of other things in her life to become possible. But I thank God for her. All of our lives are intertwined by the military. I'm the civilian. My husband was military, but all of us had a chance to work with each other at the hospital. And I tell you what, it was just a blessing. And God just connected us together. And we are not just her little friends, but we are her sisters
Yes.
in Christ, and we look out for her. I'm one that I'm often praying for her. I'm often praying that God will always surround her, be it in the business world, her personal world, that God will also surround her and all of my sisters with the right people, because the journey that she has embarked upon, she's going to need the right people around her. And if they're not right, God will reveal that to her as well. So I'm just really proud of her. I can't be no prouder of her than if she was my own biological sister. She might as well be, because my father and the rest of the family has already adopted her into the family. But I just want you to know one thing about her. She's real. She's genuine. Not only did we work in the military capacity, me being the civilian counterpart, but she works with me very closely in the ministry. She is my confidant. I don't have to worry about anything. If I'm not around, I know that she can carry it on, and she would do it as if it was me at the helm. So I am so thankful for her, because she has proven herself. And I am one. I look for someone to prove themselves to me, just like I like to prove myself to others. And she has proven herself to me, but most of all, God has stamped his stamp and seal of approval upon her life. I wouldn't take anything from her. I wouldn't give you anything for her. She is a keeper, and I just ask that if you're involved in her life in any type of way, just look out for her, take care of her, and we're gonna push her forward. She know I believe in the 2 P's. Either we're gonna push someone or we're gonna pull them, but either way, all of us are moving at the same time. So Carla, I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. And we're just looking for bigger and better things. So glad to be on this part of your journey. Thank you so much for allowing me to say something.
Hey, no problem at all. Look at here. Like we were saying before we got on, that, you know, your work to varying degrees is part of your stewardship. And your testimony is just that, from getting to this point to getting through this point, you know, things of that nature. And also, and we were talking offline, you know, none of us got here by ourselves. We know ultimately what got us here. But by the same token, when positive people are put in place, the potential is insurmountable. So it's great that, you know, both of you were able to, you know, to jump on and share that. And that's what I think, even beyond the books, just the fact, you know, your village is huge. You know, we've all talked about, you know, in one way or other, those praying people, P-R-A-Y, those praying grandparents.
P-R-E-Y, exactly that.
And those types of things. No, and again, even if people have heard it before, it doesn't make that message, you know, less impactful. People still need to hear it, because there's someone that might be hearing this for the first time, or someone that we can run, you gotta dust off the cobwebs a little bit, that needed that moment. And we've got another colleague that's jumped on, and hopefully he can get off of mute, Mr. Gregory Wilson. Gregory, are you there? Mr. Gregory Wilson, because he popped on, and I know he might be checking his audio, which is fine. But no, these are messages that not only are parlayed in the book, but they go beyond it. And so, look, there's always, you know, a timely message. Carla, you've got great support. You know that this is part of you walking in your purpose. The themes that you're covering are things that can help a number of people across the board. Do you have anything upcoming? Like, are you doing any virtual talks or in-person talks? What's on, I'll say, the immediate future regarding your work and regarding your book?
Well, right now I don't have anything pending, although because I literally just finished moving from Alexandria to Mandeville. So I'm trying to get settled in, and then I'll be getting back into the business of making sure that my business is up and running the way it needs to be running, and making sure that I'm promoting the book to the fullest extent. But I'm also at the same time writing the follow-up book to Planting Peaches. A lot of my readers have already said, okay, I want to know what happens next, what happens to some of the characters. So I owe them that book. But ultimately, I think I just want to really focus on Christian books. This story, Planting Peaches, was literally just to, as I said at the beginning, help me heal. And not just for myself, I also want other women to heal. You know, we go through things all the time, but nobody ever wants to talk about it. And that's what I think Planting Peaches is going to give them an opportunity to connect with the book, but I really want them to be healed from it as well. So look out for The Journey Continues. It will be coming to a bookshelf near you soon.
That is awesome. And I think, like, you know, like you alluded to, any of us that write, if we're not actively writing the next piece, we're kind of actively thinking what that next direction is going to be in. And
Exactly.
I think, like you said, with you providing the follow-up and building on a number of these characters and themes and things along those lines, it is you know, it's allowing you to cast that wider net, and you never know what people you're able to draw in constructively because of the topics that you're covering. But more important, the space and place from where you're coming from. You're coming from a space of clarity, a space of, like you said, healing, redemption, encouragement, empowerment. There are so many positive takeaways that you have. So with your book, again, show people the cover again, and let people know the best ways for people to make a purchase, as well as the best ways for people to stay connected and engaged with you, so more people can help lend support to what you're doing.
Well, you can actually purchase the book at Amazon.com. I also, if you would like to purchase it directly from me, you can send me an email at breakthroughcreationsinc@gmail.com. That's breakthrough, BREAKTHROUGH, Creations Inc. INC @gmail.com. And I also have a PayPal account, but I can't remember what the actual code is right now. So please forgive me for that. But anyway, if you want to just get in contact with me via email, please do so. I will respond within a day or so to make sure that I get back with you and do a follow-up. But please look out for me. And if you want to look on Facebook, it's on the Author Fitzgerald, just AUTHOR, not UR, Arthur Fitzgerald on Facebook.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And let me ask you this. So it's great. So again, people hopefully you've been taking note, but if not, you can watch this. It's streaming live and it'll be up for a while. So if you didn't catch it now, catch it later. I want to, before I kind of help wind this down, and I guess, you know, Mr. Wilson, I think is, I don't know if he's trying to get on board or not. Mr. Wilson, are you there? Are you there? He might have just been jumping in, but his presence is felt. So Mr. Gregory Wilson, even if there was a technical issue, we see you, and seeing you, that is still helping out. Carla, I'd like to do this as we start pivoting and start winding down to other, not, and we talked about this offline, but I think it's definitely worth asking again. Finding your voice. Now, that's a universal theme that almost all of us on here, from hosting to being a guest, finding your voice. If you would please, to our viewers out there, whether it's people who are writing, who are thinking about writing, who maybe might be finding their way through music or the arts or their career or stewardship, I'd like for you to leave our viewers with, why is it so important to find your voice? So if you could expand upon that, why is it important for you, meaning really all of us, to find our voice?
I think finding your voice is acknowledging that you recognize the purpose that's within you. And it's going to help you heal, but more so, it's going to help someone else heal. What I've learned in life is that a lot of things have happened to me I couldn't understand, couldn't explain. But as I start to share the story, I realized it was because I was supposed to help someone else. And, you know, you have to embrace it. As I said to you earlier during the show, you have to embrace whatever journey you've experienced, and even the journey that's ahead, and you just have to go face on with it. But don't allow what happened in the past to keep you from moving forward into your future. If you have a dream, follow that dream. Follow it. Somebody needs to know what art you have. Somebody needs to know what experience, if the dark experiences that you have, that they can be overcome. So follow your dreams. Don't let the naysayers tell you what you can and cannot do, because they don't know your journey. They don't have the rights or the blueprint to your journey. It's your journey. So follow it. And even if you don't know how, keep doing the work, because eventually the right person will show up and they will show you how. Even a step-by-step tutorial you may get for someone. But the thing is, be doing the work in the process. Don't wait until the last minute. Okay, here's the now it's time to present your work and you don't have it ready. Do the work. You have to do the work no matter what you're doing. Do the work, or what you desire to do. Do the work. Be prepared so when the opportunity presents, you're there and you're ready. But don't give up on your dream.
Tell you what, that is like I said, timely advice for any time, day, week, minute, second, or season. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for reminding all of us out here how important it is to not only find your voice but also keep your voice.
Indeed.
Before I close out, would you do us a favor again, show us the book cover, and again remind people of where they can purchase as well as to stay connected with you?
Okay, so this is Planting Peaches, The Journey of Lauren Brooks by Carla Fitzgerald. It's available on Amazon.com, and you can send me an email at breakthroughcreationsinc@gmail.com if you like to get a personal copy. I don't mind signing copies. The price on Amazon is $21.95 plus all their fees and et cetera, et cetera. If you send the information to me directly, I can get your copy, and you're basically just paying the state tax for Louisiana. Aside from that, shipping and handling is free. And if you want me to write something personal, whether it's for yourself or someone else, I'm more than happy to do that for you as well. So by all means, look me up on Facebook. I'm under author, AUTHOR Fitzgerald, AUTHOR Fitzgerald on Facebook. And the email address, as I said earlier, is breakthroughcreationsinc@gmail. I do have a PayPal account, and I will put that on the site for anyone that is interested in just going through PayPal to make a purchase if you're interested. I will tell you from what my readers have shared, it is a roller coaster ride of a book. One moment you're happy, the next moment you're crying, but it's life experiences. And I want the reader to really connect with the characters in the book. And as I said, a lot of it's based on a true story. Because what I also learned is that literally everyone has a story to tell, and how you deliver that message is up to you. I chose to go as a fictional character in the book. But nevertheless, the message is still the same. Hurt is hurt is hurt is hurt, and it doesn't matter from whom or by whom. But healing is always available to you.
Well, I'll tell you what, Carla, I appreciate you taking and making the time to be with us today. I know that all of us here are able to take some positive takeaways from what you shared through the lens of what you've done with your, what you're still doing with your book, your future works, but just your journey. And to your friends that were able to jump on, even with them being on here, there's something that they said that we know is going to help somebody. In helping wind down and close out, and to keep consistent with that theme, especially when we talked about finding your voice, this is from my current release, Nothing Minor, which covers my 2019 journey, covering minor league baseball from the Carolinas to Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi. A number of the players I interviewed are actually on major league rosters. A few of them will be on rosters in the next year or two. Shouts to Emery Rose Photography, specifically Deidre Walker, for helping contribute to a couple of the chapters with her photography, best in Gwinnett County. So definitely check her out. But on top of that, there's two things I want to really stress. Number one was the chapter I did on the Negro Southern Leagues Museum based in Birmingham, Alabama. Many people might not realize they have the largest archives of Negro Leagues memorabilia. So when you think about pioneers like Jackie Robinson, Larry Doby, Willie Mays, and other greats, it's infusing just enough history, but with it being the centennial or the 100-year anniversary, it makes it real big. And it's available in hardcover and ebook. But in building off of that question that I asked you closing out, finding your voice in pursuit, this is something I want to share. And this is a short excerpt from an interview I did with one of the players, Travis Demerit. And this is what he said, which I think really does fit. Don't give up. Silence the noise. Continue. If it's your dream and that's what you want to do, don't let anyone deter you from it, and stay resilient. So even that quote that was talking about his baseball journey, I think all of you can tell that can be applied towards your professional journey, your community outreach, your personal growth. And we're going to throw it in here because we talked about the spirit, your spiritual growth. And sometimes the noise might be coming from yourself. So don't convince yourself not to do something when the talent is probably in you. So I just want to close out and leave that at that, as well as two book-related opportunities where you can catch me October 31st from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Nubian Bookstore in Morrill, Georgia. I'll do an in-person signing. And then November 1st at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it'll be virtual, but I'll be one of the speakers for the second annual Fall Festival hosted by Detroit Book City. So those are ways to connect with me. To stay connected with me, as you see right here on Facebook, author Andrew Snorton, Instagram, Twitter, author A. Snorton, YouTube, author A. Snorton, and then you can email me at authorsnorton@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to close out, this is what we do every second and fourth Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So whether we have Ms. Fitzgerald as our solo author holding it down, or we typically have two, but you know what, even two, where they say two or more are gathered, as long as, hey, I'm just going to leave it at that. And if where two or more are gathered, but this is what we do every second and fourth Sunday about this time. Part of it is really making sure you're aware of some other authors doing some great work, and as well as being able to, get a word of encouragement, motivation, not only just getting a book and supporting, but listen to the bigger picture that all of these great people are sharing. To Ms. Gwen, Ms. Natalie, Mr. Wilson, thank you for jumping on. Ms. Walker jumped on for a little bit. Thank you all for being on here. Please, as we said before, don't keep this to yourself. We all know at least a person, not only just to support the authors on here, but there's some bigger picture things that someone can take away from, apply, use, and know that they can do something, that they are capable. And when you think of, just remember who you are and whose you are. If you don't remember anything else from today, remember who you are and whose you are, and that will take you places and spaces known and unknown. And like you said before, Carla, earlier, your light can be able to shine in different spaces and places that you did not anticipate. Just like, hey, if you had told me 3 years ago I'd have been having a talk like this today, someone could have retired. They could have had a friendly wager and retired. But I'm saying all that to say to Carla, continued blessings, continued encouragement. Keep doing the great things that you're doing and building off of those, because we know you're reaching a lot of people. To Ms. Gwen, Ms. Natalie, Mr. Wilson, Ms. Walker, all of you are doing great things. You continue to build on that greatness. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and close out. We will be back with our next edition on November 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for All About the Authors. If you or someone either you are an author, you're getting ready to release your book, or what have you, please have them get in contact with me. We love doing stuff like this. This is not only great for the authors, it's great for us. And it keeps all of us out here encouraged and motivating in whatever your chosen path, your chosen direction. Just remember, do what you can to keep building other people up. Continue to build other people up, just like you see right here. These folks right here, that's part of that team that helps keep, Carla encouraged and built up. So when you see what's going on right here, duplicate that and do that for somebody else. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, continue blessings, encouragement, take care, keep your head up, put one foot in front of the other. And, whether you're crawling, walking, or jogging, running, movement is movement. So keep it moving. So what we're going to do, we are going to go ahead and close this out. We're going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then we're going to close out. And then Carla, I'm going to make sure to follow up with you, and all of you out here, seriously, continue to take very good care. Okay.
Thank you.
You just finished watching All About the Authors. Make sure to add All About the Authors 520 on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. and make sure to check us out. We'll see you.